Hey, what's up, lads and lassies? Do you know the feeling of playing Groundwar and dying over and over and over again? Yeah, well, that was kind of my last 2 weeks, and I made some improvements, and I got to those sacred 30 to 5, 30 to 10 kill games. Now, this is not perfect, but it's pretty good for 2 weeks. So let me show you how I figured it out. Alright, so first of all, I've obviously been playing quite a bit, alright, 6 hours, 5 days a week, basically kind of like that. And, sticking to the basics. So where could people shoot me from? Who has an angle on me, who's gonna be there? Is it gonna be a sniper? Is it gonna be an assault rifle? And then just ask myself, where do I want to play? So, am I an MP, right? MPs, short to mid-range, you can make them work long range, but don't. Then ARs, obviously mid-range, 2 longer ranges. You can do short range, but you have to be pretty precise and you have to know something is coming, and you'll still lose to your occasional shotgun or MP. And then for snipers, it's obviously long range. Everything else, so shotguns and MGs, I've not really been playing. But, shotguns are short range, and MGs are kind of like long to, medium range. They're very slow, so they're very clunky in low ranges. Kind of like a transition, right? But you have a lot of bullets. And then, something I've been thinking about is, where do people expect me? So, I run around, right? Let's say we have C, right? And the enemy has D. So running straight from C to D obviously is maybe not, the best idea. Unless I know that everyone's been like busy doing other stuff. But, the sides of Groundwar, that's pretty unlikely. So your best bet is to take, a little better route, be a bit smarter about it. So obviously you have to figure out how you want to make that work. It's always a bit of a weird one. Feeling for which routes you should take comes with, just playing a lot. So this is not everything. There are also game mechanics, right? So for example, there's a slide cancel, okay? So I can talk about that one in a later video, but slide canceling, to make it short. Alright, there's a setting on PC where you can enable it, disable it. And it's basically just you instantly stop the slide, okay, which doesn't make you end the slide in the animation and pull out your gun, but you insta-end it, and then you can slide again, okay? So that's very useful, for doors, for if you expect an enemy to be somewhere, you can slide cancel into having your scope up and sliding into the room, basically. So that's really good and that's really important, okay? So as you might have figured out, alrighty, 2 to 3 weeks are not enough to master kind of skills, right? So just the movement around the map takes a long time, right? I still have like rough spots where I hang, where I don't like understand the map very well, and I've heard for CS:GO a measurement of knowing the map well is being able to run it without getting stuck to anything, being able to run it backwards. Now, obviously, that's CS:GO. Okay, it's a competitive game. Stuff's short. Maps are short. It's not quite the same. But I would say kind of the notion still applies. So as you master these kind of skills on days where you're not that focused, alright, stuff's, a bit more inconsistent. Everything is a bit weird, and you don't hit shots and so on and so forth. And then other days you're slaying, you're absolutely doing great. Alright, first of all, my tip, look at your sleep, right? You want to get 7 to 8 hours. You want to get good sleep. And the other thing is, though, that in the beginning, that variation just is very steep. But the longer you play a game, usually, the more everything becomes habit and flowy, and you just run through there and everything works out great. And, the bumps in the road get less and less and less. So that's pretty much what I want to say about, like the basic you know, the I'd say kind of physical stuff about the game. Now, considering your mental and your goals, you have to be super honest with yourself. So do you play for a high KDA? So do you want to feed your ego? You know, do you want to show people that you're a good player? You know, all of that stuff. Or do you want to be like really just, do you want to be as good as possible, right? And you obviously, you'll have to adjust what you want to do. You'll have to think about that one. And you'll have to be like, let me tell you, okay? The first answer that comes to mind, most of the time, is not the right one. So, you know, you'll have to know. But for me, mental is usually something that prevents me from reaching those higher levels. I know how to figure stuff out. I can do pretty good, but usually it's that I hold myself to way too high of expectations, and then I judge myself, and I'm being way too hard and way too harsh on myself for not, you know, keeping up with that. Now, I for myself try to make it to that mindset that Elon Musk has, where he's like, alright, so this is probably not gonna work out. I'm still gonna give my best, and, you know, we'll see where that leads me. But to put all of these mental things aside, alright, because whatever it is for you, there's an answer. And the answer is flow state. So usually you want to hit what is called flow state. I'm going to explain that in a second. What is flow state during gaming, okay? So the first few seconds are obviously not, but, you know, once you get into the game, you can, you know, achieve flow state. Now, flow state is very dependent on, you know, your feeling. All right, so a way you can figure out whether or not you are in flow state or you have been in flow state is if you can remember a lot of the game. Usually, if you can't, that's a sign of flow state. Obviously, you know, the longer you play the game, the more flow state occurs. And then the other thing is, and I mean like the more over the course of weeks, not in one day, right? And then the other thing is, you know, the less strong emotions you have, the more mellow you are, the less you think about yourself, the more likely it is that you're gonna hit flow state and that you are in flow state. So if you're just focusing on the game, right, not thinking about yourself, not being like judgmental, none of that. You're just focusing on the game. You're just thinking, okay, this guy might be there. They just kept this point, so there will be at least like 2 or 3 people, right? We can always keep in mind that people can always spawn on each other if they're in a squad, so on and so forth, right? And you'll kind of get to know where all of that leads you. And I think that is something that is really important. Entering flow state, not being judgmental, and just flowing, okay? I've heard some people call it like going super fucking, what do they call it? Like super instinct or something. That's what I've heard. I don't know where I picked that up, but hey, you know, it might help you. So you go like instinct, and you just go, and, you know, everything falls in line, and this guy's gonna be there, and there's gonna be someone here, and you hear the footsteps, and, you know, and that'll come with time, right? I have like a few games of those, and obviously, me being a streamer, right, me starting to stream and trying to work all of that stuff out doesn't really help flow state. Because, first of all, as you might have noticed, I'm not a native English speaker. So that is really hard. Now, trying to be entertaining, trying to manage a face cam, so like just talking to you, and, you know, not being self-conscious about the way you look, and not, you know, not messing with all of these irrelevant details, okay, and just focusing on the game and focusing on your entertainment, I'd say, is really hard. So, you know, for me, usually the best games happen when I'm offline, I'm like this to the screen, you know, I'm just like, when everything is just irrelevant and only the screen matters. Now, obviously, streaming, that's kind of a different deal, so it's been rough for me, but, you know, you can do different stuff. Good music can help flow state, and I think once I'm in streaming flow state, which is like a cool switch between focus on like the game, focus on people, and, you know, all of that stuff, I think it'll get way better. But after all, right, we have all of these great things, we have all of these angles, right, and I can kind of talk about stuff when I see that people want that, but I think all of the specific stuff really doesn't help you too much. I know it's like porn, right? It feels really good to have like great tips and your mind's like, yeah, dude, I know that I can head glitch this spot and you know, but that who the fuck gives a shit? Like another game comes out and it's all gone. Like no, okay. But the most important thing is just being a student. Okay, so a really interesting thing is I would say that no matter how high your level is, if you keep the student's mentality and whenever you die you're like, oh, how did I die? What happened? Okay, not what did I do wrong or anything, just what happened? Okay, I thought that guy was there. He wasn't there. Okay, there was another guy. Maybe I should have aimed at that guy. Maybe, you know, I just walked into and the guy had an MP or shotgun and he just like one hit me and there was nothing I can do. I like my crosshair was perfectly lined up to his face. Happens, okay? Maybe netcode happens, okay? The game is played on 20 on a 20 refresh rate servers. So like, you know, shit happens. Maybe your hit reg is just not fine, you're playing the AK or whatever. So, you know, just keep observing and figure stuff out and don't blame. Alright? Always watch higher level players than you and ask yourself, what are they doing differently? How are they thinking about stuff? And keep in mind that there are a lot of people that reach high level and are toxic as fuck. And it's gonna bite them in the arse at some point, but not necessarily now. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Don't copy everything blindly. Alright, if you made it to this part of the video, thank you very much for watching. I would appreciate a comment. Head on over to twitch.tv/AshenGG if you want to tell me what I should do better. You can do the same on Discord, you can do it on Twitter, whatever you would like. Links are in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll leave you with some gameplay. Alright, that's good though. I was out of ammo anyway, so maybe my teammate... Nope. My teammate died to him too. It's not like he got warned or anything, right? I thought he was dead. Turns out he wasn't. He actually just played me.
Counter UAV active. We're taking Bravo.
Double left. Alright. I was not expecting that, man. To just fucking hard rush me. Also, I love how COD players use smokes to push and not to close angles. Close off angles. Just fucking cracks me up, mate. Dude, I hate it when games are this slow. I also hate that my fucking specialist is just not charging, is it? Ooh, get a grow.
Be advised, friendly precision air. Capture them.
That's depressing. I don't know. These fucking, like, when games tighten up this much, I don't know. I feel like it gets so hard to play if you're not, like, sniping or anything, or just, like, mounting somewhere. But it gets so hard to move. Oh well, what do you do?